have a look at a pen by Ryan Krusac Studios, and although I kind of object to telling incredibly long stories about pens and pen manufacturers, I did feel that I should share this with you. 2012, I was at the DC Pen Super Show with Eric, and we had lunch with Ryan Krusac, and I want to say that was Ryan's first pen show. And he, at that point, made kit pens, but those were pretty exceptional kit pens because he had, I remember, a whole bunch with antler, which he did scrimshaw on, and that's what made those pens stand apart. Like, it was the scrimshaw redemption. Sorry. Anyway, so they were exceptional pens, but they were kit pens at that point, and we had a discussion about during lunch, what would pen lovers like to see, and we said you have to make your own pens, like make your own section, like make the whole thing. And Ryan has been doing that. Now, Ryan is an incredibly nice guy. I have met him a couple of times. Every time our interaction has been wonderful. He also is a trained artist, and he makes pens that I think are not just beautiful, but they are incredibly skillfully made, and he has an encyclopedic knowledge of woods. He knows everything about woods. It is disturbing how much Ryan knows about woods. But that's really cool because he makes a lot of wooden pens. So if you buy a wooden pen from him, then you know that that wood has been treated properly and all those kinds of things. So, having said that, that was the introduction. I tried to keep it as brief as I could. Today we're going to look at the Ryan Krusac Studios Legend 16. I'm going to cover the parts of the pen. I will do a writing sample. I'll tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and the pen is not my property because it was lent to me by a friend, just so you know. Having said all that, let's get started. Okay, let's have a look at the Ryan Krusac Studios Legend 16. So these pens come in one of these cute little pouches called a silk taffeta pouch, and these are made by Zoya. I don't know if this, no, that little die doesn't actually have the name on there. Zoya is a company operated by Ryan Krusac's daughters, and they make pen pouches and pen sleeves, which I think is really cool. And if you're ever at a pen show where Ryan is present, there's a very good chance his daughters will be there, and they will be selling these things. I have another pen sleeve of theirs, which I will try to show you afterwards because I forgot to grab it. So anyway, so that's the little pen sleeve, pen kimono, which I think is very nice, and then in there is the pen. This is the Legend 16, and it rolls, which means it has a 16mm diameter. If that is too big for you, you can also get them in 12, 14, or 15. So you have 4 options. Next to this Pilot Parallel, you will see that this is a girthy pen, but it is 16mm, so that's kind of what you would expect. Okay, what wood? This is Cocobolo, which is a nice tropical hardwood. I think it's quite coveted because it has a very nice pattern in it, which is always a little difficult to show, but maybe you can see it here. Very nice, very warm color. Okay, so let's talk about the parts of the pen, and then we'll get to prices and things I like and don't like about it. Top of the pen, here there's nothing. Now Ryan does do custom pens, and he can have finials put in, but on this model it's just straight up the wood. The logo, Ryan Krusac Studios, which I've always liked. It reminds me a little bit of Tolkien's monogram. I always like that. I have the cap, barrel tapers down, and the end of the barrel, same material as the rest of the pen. So very simple, and I like that. There's a certain elegance to that. It's understated, and I really like that. There's no clip, but you can get a clip if you want to. It's an additional thing, $35 extra, you can get a clip. I personally, this would be my selection as well, to just leave it like this because I think it's very attractive, again, in that simplicity. Okay, we have a number 6 steel nib with, again, the Ryan Krusac Studios logo on it, laser engraved. This is a broad nib, and the section material is different from the rest of the pen, which makes complete sense. Were you to make a wooden section, that would look beautiful, but it would stain with ink like there's no tomorrow. That would not be a wise decision, I think. Pen is fed through cartridges or a converter, This happens to have an StephenBrown converter in it. I don't know how that happened, but again, a friend lent me this pen, so don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to, right? Larger pen, especially girthy. And the interesting thing is, this pen, in my mind, actually, there's an interesting psychological effect going on. It's longer than you think it is. It's just girthy, and that makes it look stockier than it really is. Here I have, from the same friend, an Atelier Lusso custom pen, 15mm diameter, which is a big pen. And as you can see, it's pretty much as big as the Ryan Krusac pen is. In fact, the legend is, I don't know, like 2mm longer or something, not counting the nib, and that's a number 8 nib. So, very interesting. I was surprised by how long it is. It's not just the girth, it's also the length. And of course both matter. Now, let's see, because that's an important matter, how this pen writes. Legend 16 Cocobolo with a broad steel nib. There's a couple of things I really noticed. First, because it's a wooden pen with pretty much no metal parts on it, except for that tiny little thing in the converter and the nib, as far as I can tell, right? It's very light, and that makes for a very pleasant writing experience, because it's just comfortable in hand. The second thing is, this is a very nice nib, and I want to say that, if I remember correctly, sorry, that Ryan tunes the nibs. This is a very good job, because it is nice and wet without gushing, it's nice and smooth without being slippery. It's, in my mind, this is a perfectly tuned nib. But fast writing. Alright, keeps up without any issue. Completely random, but I forgot to say this. I want to say that the section is ebonite because I think Ryan used to use ebonite. I'm not 100% sure. Sorry for this interruption. We'll now continue with our regular program. Wetness, well, as I said, it's really quite nice. I love that. That's perfect for me. Line variation. Well, it's not advertised as a flex nib, it is a steel nib. There isn't a whole lot, right? As always, of course, we're very, very careful with this, but they have it. What about reverse writing? What if you say, oh, that's a very broad nib, I wish I had a finer nib? You could turn it upside down. It becomes a bit scratchier, but you could get away with a couple of words and you clearly go to, I would say, an extra fine. So, that is an option for those of you who enjoy such a thing. Having said that, I think we need to talk about what I like, what I don't like about this pen. Let's do it. Okay, what do I like, what do I not like about the Ryan Krusac Studios Legend 16? There's a lot of things I like about it. I like the looks, I like that it's a simple model. I like what I mean by that is the no clip. Now, for the record, let's talk about the price. So, I wrote this down. The base price is $325 US. Bear in mind, handmade pen, right? $325. I think that's a very fair price. If you want 12 or 14 millimeters, it's $325. If you want 15 or 16 millimeters, it's $35 extra. If you want a clip, it's $35 extra. And then you can, and this is something, I have the feeling this may, what do you call that? Create some discord among some people, but I love this. You can purchase a display box for $25 more. And I love that, because when I get a pen and it's in a box, I take the box and I throw it out, because I don't buy pens to resell them later. If I do sell something, there's no box. I'm sorry. I don't have the space, nor do I have the desire to store all kinds of boxes of pens, some of which are ridiculously huge. So I like the idea but you can purchase a box. But if you don't need the box, which would be Mike's scenario, then you don't get the box. You just get, because that is included, you do get that pen pouch from Zoya. And I forgot to take the other pouch out. Now I'll try to put it in the picture for the website. I'm sorry. I'm not perfect. Now, so this pen, 325 plus 35 for the 16mm diameter is 360. Yes, it's 360, just checking. Converter is included, and as far as I know, at least they used to be, so I'm assuming yes. And you get that pen sleeve, and that's it. If you want a clip, you can get a clip, 35 extra. You want a box, you can get a box, 25 extra. You can even have a beautiful handwritten note. If you give this as a gift, you can have them do a beautiful note, which I thought was really cool as well, which you also pay something like $10 for or something, whatever. But it's nice if you give this as a gift. So I think it's really nice. To be honest, for me, $360 for this pen is completely appropriate, given that it's a handmade pen of a tropical hardwood, made with great skill, because you also need to cure woods and you need to do things, and you know with Ryan that he does that. He also takes care of things. I bought a custom Ryan Krusac Studios pen from Ryan for Aziza, and there was an issue at the bottom and somewhere there was like an air bubble in the lacquer, and I sent it back to him, and free of charge everything was fixed. Right, so you also know that you purchase from someone who cares about his customers. And he says on his website he can typically fix things, often for free, sometimes there's a small charge, but like he can fix things if they go wrong. So you're dealing with an expert at his craft who also cares about his customers. So that's pretty much as good as it gets, in my mind. I like that the section is not wood. I know it would look good, but it wouldn't work, it would stain. And again, I think the price is fair for what is in my mind a beautiful handmade pen. What do I not like about it? Well, there are some things that I don't like about it, and these are both minor issues. One is, this is not something I don't like about it, I'm just saying, it's a wooden pen. That means it requires certain upkeep. So you can't put it in your car, because if it gets very hot, then the wood may crack. I live in a very dry climate. Alberta, I have had some wooden pens crack here, especially in winter when it gets very, very dry. So you need to do some upkeep. You need to oil it once in a while. And Ryan there's a guide to how to do that on the website. Here's the deal. If you can't be bothered to do that, you have to buy a plastic pen, right? Like that's not meant in a harsh way, but like you are buying a wooden pen, wood comes with certain needs. My grandparents, I remember, moved to an apartment and were selecting a wooden floor, and my grandmother asked the shopkeeper something like, hey, what about if this, like what if it moves a bit, what if it, what if it doesn't fit properly, what if this and that, and the man said, listen, you're buying a living product, you don't want any of this stuff, buy linoleum. Which I thought that's also the super Dutch thing to do. You don't like it? It's not my problem. Don't buy it. Second thing, number 8 nib would look pretty sweet on a Legend 16. Ryan, my man, make it happen. Number 8 nib I think would be really cool. I just think it would be really cool on this diameter of pen. It would look neat. There would be some issues, it would be longer, but anyway, I think it would be cool. Is this a deal breaker? No, because as I said, this is a stellar nib. It rides beautifully. I was surprised by how well this nib wrote. Very, very pleasant. Having said all this, I think it's a great pen. That's it. It's a great pen. So, hope this was useful. Samar, thank you for lending me the pen.